amongst the many positions he held for the African National Congress. Let's perhaps upend this conversation and keep going a little bit further here. And in studio, I'm fortunate to be joined then by Khaya Ndwandwe, who is a friend of ours here, who will be joining us. He's a historian as well as a cultural expert. Let's talk through some of those processes and observations that we've had so far. Thank you so much for joining us in studio. And I think such an important one, because it's also the understanding of the multi-layered cultural aspects that we get to see as well today, because some might wonder why a man like Nathi Mthethwa is being buried near his family home and right there as opposed to maybe at a cemetery, etc. And we'll get to that conversation. Maybe if we can just start with from his time of passing to up to now, ultimately, the things that really needed to be done in order to bring Nathi Mthethwa home, if I can start there. Good morning again.
Good morning, Mr. Gomete. Thank you very much for having me. Firstly, let me pass my condolences to Mthethwa's family, Telezi, and the people of South Africa. So it's a sad story. Even the church, I must pass condolences to the Mthethwa's church. So from the beginning, when we heard about that story, it was so painful. We were so shocked because Honorable Mthethwa was so young. We were expecting a lot from him because, as Mam Dlamini did explain, that he was a brave man. So you know that I think he is the first group that implement the ANC in that area. So we're expecting a lot. So it was a shock to hear that Mr. Mthethwa died like this, so in Faraway while he was representing the country. But I think Mthethwa's family did manage to go all this procedural until they reached the home when they landed to OR Tambo, from OR Tambo to King Shaka. We did see that they practiced some ritual. There's some rituals to be practiced because he was died of this nature. So which is not common. It's used. We used to say it's a case. So from that, you did notice that yesterday there was a structure that was erected outside Mthethwa's home. So they're supposed to go there inside privately to practice some rituals. There is two elders who are responsible for this thing. Luckily, the ANC done an exceptional job because they have got Bab Mabuya Kulu, Bab Jeff Hatebe, who understand the culture of the Zulu. Especially Bab Mabuya Kulu is around Mbonambi because it's Tenpangen. He know everything. There's nothing new. They know that if they say we ask the privacy, they know that they are not rejected, but they must practice that rituals. I think they did it as I did see that structure. You see that there was a praise singer for Baba Mthethwa. Some other people, they might ask why there is a praise singer, because the reason is that, Mr. Kumet, Mr. Mthethwa is from Mthethwa royal family, in the house, straight in the house. So they're supposed to have, I think if things was not like that, even Amabuta was supposed to be there because he belonged to Amabuta of Mthethwa, while he's an elder, but he grew up there. So they did manage accordingly. As a historian and the cultural respect, I did see everything go well.
And it's also the calling of a spirit that died somewhere else being brought back home, which is why there was a lot of that work being done prior to them arriving at the home, at the family home as well, before the body then enters, before we get to the point where we are at right now. Let's just talk as well about him then being buried inside the family yard and the homestead as well. I mean, perhaps many questions to be asked around why that would be the case, why not at an official cemetery, etc. And also having to bury the body after 12 o'clock, which is also something that actually happens. Some people may be used to early morning funerals, and that's not the case here.
Yes. To answer that question first, why in the yard? Why not at the government official place? As I did mention that he's from a royal family. So they must follow that protocol. Yes, we know that Mr. Mthethwa didn't belong to Mthethwa's people, he belonged to the South African people. But at the end of the day, I'm from Ndwandwe. So people of Emevin, they must come and pick up my boat and practice their rituals. So that it's a must that he must be buried there according to their culture. You remember Babu Vilakazi wrote a poem, Ningbele duzane kwendlela lapho ingane ziyokwedlula khona ibone mangabe ziyesikoleni. So they follow Mthethwa's culture to do something like that. That's why they did everything outside, but at the end of the day, if you can remember very well, even President Mandela was buried at Kuneti's house. So 100%. It's not something new.
It's not new.
They did, while I can be an official, but at the end of the day, I belong to Ndwandwe. People of Ndwandwe, they must practice our culture or their culture.
So important as well to be able to do and say all of that. And I think, look, proceedings are set to start off around 9 o'clock. So that cortege is on its way to the Siyabonga Sangweni Sports Complex as well. But I'm going to hand over very quickly, if I may, back to Xoli Mgambi as we continue to see those visuals of that cortege on its way to the sports complex. But Xoli, I believe you're still talking to some of the dignitaries as well. Let me hand it over to you as we continue to follow proceedings this morning. All right, we'll try and get to Xoli as soon as we possibly can. One imagines as well as more and more people arrive and connectivity becomes a little bit more difficult at this stage. Ndwandwe, maybe if I can come back to you then here at, in the studio. We saw just not so long ago that there was a prayer just before the cortege actually left the homestead. Perhaps we can talk about why there was that prayer and what that prayer actually meant, particularly because it was a reading effectively to Nathi Mthethwa himself, and why that was so important.
Yeah, that prayer, Mr. Kumete, was so important. Firstly, let us go back to the history. The founder of Shembe Nazareth Baptist Church.
Yes, and one must add that he is, of course, a member of the Shembe Church.
According to the history that I heard, when he came from Tabazo, he went down there to Mpangeni, in a place called Mzingazi. In that home, they say there was something that was happening around the yard. So when he passed, he just see the elders, they are sitting there, don't know what they were talking about. Yes. He introduced himself, say, no, I'm Shembe, the first one, the founder of the Nazareth Baptist. But that time it was not prominent, because he was still started to preach the gospel. He said, no, you did something here. Can you take a spade and go there and dig there? There is something that you buried there. They were surprised. When they asked him, who are you? Say, no, I'm the prophet of God. So I'm here to preach the gospel, this kind of a gospel. Yes. So it's where Mthethwa's families get involved or repent to that religion. So that's why now you see most of them, 80% of these people, of Mthethwa's people, they belong to Washembe. Yes. Because of the founder came to Mzingazi. I know even that home where he stepped first. So it was so important to practice the rituals of your church. For example, if you are born again, you must practice that rituals of your church. So they were so important. As you know that Shembe's church, they are so traditional. While they pray to God, but they report to the ancestors too, or they pray to the ancestors too. As you did mention before, they did bring back the soul, because there is someone who's carrying what we call ihlahla lomphafa. Yes. But you can't see it because it's a private ritual. There is someone who carried that ihlahla lelo. He come with it. He report whatever is happening. While they are there, as you see the elders, when they pray to God and they report to the ancestors of Mthethwa. Now, this is your son now. As you did see yesterday, a praise singer of Mthethwa, calling Dingiswayo, all Amakosa of Mthethwa. Now, they are reporting now in a spiritual manner that now your son is going out to the house. The reason why you must conduct this ceremony, thereafter will come back. So they say we are asking the protection from you, because whatever you are doing, we are not doing it our own. Yes. We know that you are, because it's their belief. So that's why you see there was that short prayer. Once they arrive there, they will pray again to report that, oh, thanks God and thanks of people of Mthethwa, you protect our son. We are here now. Wow. Here is the proceeding.
So important. And, the reason I think I bring this up is because it's so important as we step things up, to understand why the family does certain things, where it comes from. And I really love that you've been able to detail that history for us. So thank you so much for that, Ndwandwe, who's joining us in studio to unpack that a little bit more, historian as well as a cultural expert. Let's cross on over to Xoli, who, of course, is at the Siyabonga Sangweni Sports Complex.